Hey, gaybros.
Hey, Gabriel Jose.
Where are we today?
We're at our homes,
Mhm.
but I did get to go to a restaurant, which I think I mentioned on our last recording.
Yeah, you did. You did. I mean, I
Damn
don't know
it.
you go.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. It's like I talking with people at work, and with friends. It's like it's so exciting now when you talk with someone. It's like, oh, how was your weekend? Or how was it? It's like, oh yeah, it was great. I left my house. It's like we are like at a point in our lives that is like we are like just willing to take anything. It's like, I went grocery shopping. It's like grocery shopping is exciting. Okay.
I went grocery shopping and there were paper towels.
Oh, you were the chosen one. But yeah, besides the world feeling up completely upside down, what did we watch this time?
I didn't prepare for this. We watched I'm gonna have to think about this off the cuff. We watched the 2008, one of my favorite films of I love this movie, Happy Go Lucky.
You're conditioning me now, but sure, okay.
Okay, so let me preface that by saying I haven't seen this movie in a long time. I remember loving it, and because lately I've been like experiencing films that I used to love in a different way, I wanted to watch this to see how I felt about it.
Yeah. So it's Happy Go Lucky by Mike Leigh from 2008.
Happy Go Lucky, Mike Leigh, 2008 masterpiece.
Okay, masterpiece. Here you go, like the cherry on top. And the reason why you wanted to watch this is just for revisiting it.
Yeah, because I really love Mike Leigh, the director. You had never seen it, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a specific question I have for you that I want answered because I'll explain later. So I wanted to talk about this movie with you, and I wanted to watch it again. That's why I picked it.
Okay, that's great. That sounds like two amazing reasons. And I guess that as this was your pick, as you already like just define why you pick it, I should summarize it. And I may forget like some of the names. Let me just bring up like yeah. So this is the story of Poppy, a British girl. I think that she's 30. That she's it's not kindergarten. It's like just elementary school teacher in London. And the movie opens with she riding a bike, she being like extremely chatty and upbeat with everyone. Is that she's the kind of person that if you are like us, probably, and I'm generalizing, sorry, but you can correct me, is like if you actually meet one of these people, you want to slap them and just shut up. There is no reason for being this happy.
Don't be nice to me.
So exactly, I don't care. I don't know you. There is nothing in between us. So it opens with she going to the Camden Market, I think in London, and her bike getting stolen. So for just surviving in the London modern world, she decides that she needs to take driving lessons. So it's the story of her life, like for the span of, we don't know, like 2 months or something, without any kind of too much to it. It's a bit more like, that's her life. And how she actually reacts to a very aggressive and crazy or mentally unbalanced school. Sorry, like like the driving teacher, the driving coach, I don't know how to call it, is that guy has some problems in his life, and how she tries to help him, how she's like from time to time about like, did you have a happy childhood? You can tell me. I'm good. And you're confident.
And by the way, it's Eddie Marsan, who is just fucking incredible in everything he's in, but he's really good in this, I think. Eddie Marsan is the name of the actor that plays the driving instructor.
Oh yeah, he's amazing. Like all the scenes when he's like just going like pretty intense. And Raha, keep your eyes clear. Do you want to die? I love them. Those scenes are like the contrast, and I think that Sally Hawkins does amazing. I think
so this
that
is the first thing I saw her in, and I was like, who the fuck is Sally Hawkins? Because she's going to be enormous. And she's had a pretty great career since this came out.
She did. I mean, because I could only think of her from The Shape of Water and this, and now I realize that like, she's in Blue Jasmine. She's the sister, but
She is.
I
She's
haven't never seen her something.
You have. She's in. Hold on. What was that? The movie that they filmed starring Keira Knightley and the old Spider-Man, and they find out that they're kids that have been raised as clones of wealthy people to give up their organs.
Oh, I don't think that it was that.
It's like Come to Me or something like that. Carey Mulligan is the primary star.
So you already like mentioned other three actors and actresses. It's like she's in a very background role. I had the feeling that she didn't actually achieve too much popularity. It's like even with The Shape of Water, is that the movie was like really popular. It won like some Oscars, but I think that it was a bit more because of the wall than her acting.
Yeah, no, you could be right. Oh, she also starred in Jane Eyre with Mia Wasikowska. No, she's had like a good run. Never Let Me Go.
Yeah, Godzilla.
She was also in An Education, also with Carey Mulligan. Oh, they must be friends.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I just feel like she had more potential than what they give credit to. And the problem is that now she has an age. So stupid that we're saying that she has an age when she's 44. But it's like for actresses, if it's like, oh, you are over 30, unless you are called Meryl Streep, it's like you don't exist.
What's that joke that Tina Fey and Amy Poehler did when oh God, what is the movie that was filmed over like 30 years? By
Boyhood.
Boyhood. And who is the woman that plays the mother?
Patricia Arquette.
Yeah, so Tina Fey made a joke about Patricia Arquette saying, Patricia Arquette proving that there are still roles for women over 40 as long as you're cast when you're 25.
Yeah, because she won an Oscar for that one, but it's the reality. It's like it almost feels like Meryl Streep is amazing. We have like discussed about it, multiple times. We agree that it's like Isabel Hooper may be better, but she's more edgy. Let's just leave it there like that. But regardless if Sally Hawkins is good or not, it's like Hollywood doesn't write for women after 40.
Yep, no, I completely agree. And it's horrible because I feel like people are more interesting in their 40s than any other age.
Thank you. I think that is like right now it's gonna start to get interesting, not my first 40 years of my life. But going back to the story, so basically it follows Poppy, it follows her roommate, that is her friend for the last 10 years, Zoe? Yeah, it was Zoe, that they actually travel all around the world, like just volunteering in different schools around the world, and then her two sisters, that it was Helen and Sally, I think, or Susie, I don't remember, but I'm not getting this wrong. And Helen is actually pregnant, so there are like a couple of mentions to her across the movie, and there is a scene when they go to visit her. And that's basically it. It's a bit more of a slice of life kind of thing. There is no like big kind of struggle, at least at the surface level. There is no kind of big struggle. There is no kind of drastic change of the characters. It's like Poppy meets a social service guy that he's exactly like him, like her. There is like a copy, like just gender swapping, but basically the same person. And the driver teacher falls in love with her, starts stalking her, and there is this very uncomfortable scene when he discovers that she has a boyfriend now and basically attacks her. Basically, no, he attacks her, violently attacks her, physically attacks her. And there is this kind of conversation that you can still see like the internal struggle about like any other human being would react in a way of saying like, I'm out of fucking here. I this guy just tried to attack me, but she still tried to fix the situation. She still like just reason with him about like, hey, look, you cannot drive right now. I'm going to be like taking the keys. I want you to calm down. To this guy that is like clearly unstable, and she also has like this scene that I would love to talk about it with you, when she goes to just a very bad part of town for just talking with a random homeless person and just connect.
Very mentally ill, like almost not coherent in speaking. Yeah.
Yep. And it's basically they're just going to cross the Tenderloin, and some of the people are like just pretty affected because some of them that they are there is that because of after the asylums closed, is that there is nothing else, is that they are on the street, So basically she goes there in a very interesting way that reminds me of how I picture like a straight married guy going to a cruising spot about like I'm doing something wrong, but at the same time it's something that I want to do, that I need to do because I have like this kind of need. And that actually completing the whole thing and just moving towards like if I like it or not this is a comedy. I laugh like multiple times, like the writing is pretty witty, the acting is pretty good, the situations are mostly believable, there are like some, parts that is like, sure, whatever. But what I like is that at the same time you can look at Sally Hawkins' character and just feel like she's so happy with the world. But there is this conversation at her sister's house that she actually goes crazy, Helen, once again, and was crazy. She actually probably hormones or whatever, but she actually says that you are not happy. You are pretending to be happy, but you're actually hiding the unhappiness inside you. And I had the feeling that it's a person who is depicted like a Poppy, is depicted in a way that she's projecting this happiness, but she needs also to feel that she's helping other people and making people around her happy. She's the kind of way that she feels validated around the world. That's the reason why after even being attacked by that guy, by the driving teacher, is that she will stay there. She will still like, I can fix this, I have this need. Or why she will go into a very bad part of town, just for finding a random homeless person. Is like, I'm going to be like improving his day. I'm going to be like, yeah, I understand you. Until the guy just tries to touch her. It's like, no, this is where I draw the line. And then she feels shy about like sharing that fact with her roommate that has been like her best friend for 10 years.
So I agree with your synopsis, although I feel like the film was about something a little bit different. But I disagree with you specifically about that scene. But I think that this is what makes the film interesting, is people see what they want to see for whatever reason. If it's like a fantasy, like, oh, I wish I was that happy, or no one is that happy. In my opinion, Poppy is a very happy person, and she does like to help people. And she also likes to get drunk and stay all night out with her friends. But when she goes to visit her pregnant sister, the pregnant sister, in my opinion, and I agree there are different readings, is projecting, oh, you're not living life like an adult. She keeps saying, you have to take responsibility. You absolutely need a mortgage because you must not be happy. I think the sister was projecting all of those things, and I feel that Sally Hawkins' character was genuinely happy. But what we watch in this film, and what I found interesting about it this time, is that while you're right, it is a slice of life to this woman. And would you agree that she's generally happy? Or you disagree on that front?
I'm a bit torn about it, because I think that she actually projects happiness. We can agree that she projects happiness. She loves to just, like that scene, the first scene when she's on the bookshop and, as they're just trying to establish conversation with the clerk. And the clerk is like, just leave me the fuck alone.
But what I think the point of this film is, and did Mike Leigh write it? I'll have to check. But we see, and again, this is my opinion, I think she is a happy person. I think she's optimistic. I think she knows who she is. But we see people around her react to her happiness. Or maybe it's not happiness, but but there's definitely optimism, and you see how it grates on different people in different ways. So yes, there's the bookshop clerk who gets pissed off at her. There's the driving instructor who reacts against her personality so strongly that he attacks her and follows her and stakes out her apartment. There is the sister who I felt was unhappy and needed to project all that stuff on Poppy. There was, and then finally there's the boyfriend who is like, this is the one I want, and they connect very well. The scene that I found the most interesting was the flamenco dancing scene where she was forced to not talk. She had to just stand there and experience other people instead of the reversal, where other people were experiencing Poppy. And there's this bizarre scene where you're just watching her. She's unable to do exercise and dancing. She's making these faces because it's so hard for her not to go out instead of just exist.
But she's struggling. But I just feel like she's struggling because her way of expressing herself is through others. It's through other happiness. It's like, if I bring happiness to that person, is when I feel like I'm alive. I mean, just try to explain like the scene when she goes to this bad part of town. Why wouldn't she share that? If you actually are trying to just help other people that they're on need, why would you go in the middle of the night to a bad part of town to find a random homeless person? Because that's only what I would expect to someone that is looking for stealing a kidney.
But is that really an argument to say she isn't happy? Just because she does something that's reckless and puts her in danger, it doesn't mean that she's not happy. It just means she's naive.
I don't think that is naive, it's like, and I don't think that is unhappy per se, I don't think that is like inherently unhappy. I just had a feeling that the way that she's happy is not completely honest. It's from the perspective that it's not about like just coming from inside and I don't care about everything else in the world. And that's what I expect when I hear like the expression like happy-go-lucky. Is like someone that doesn't care about anything. But actually, Sally Hawkins' character cares about things. Is that there are several scenes where she actually drops the smile, and I think that is like why the contrast between like she being a believable character when she's like just over the top happy, but it's also believable when she actually drops the smile and starts like just getting serious. Like for example, when she sees the kids like just fighting on the court, on the school, is she starts like just looking from the glass and say, I no longer have my spell, and I could actually just run away right now and just stop this. But it's like, no, I'm going to be interiorizing this and realizing that even all the effort that I'm putting into this, I cannot change the world. And changing the world is what gives me my own energy and my happiness.
But see, I totally hear what you're saying, but I also see what you're saying as evidence to support my view of the film. And I'm not saying you're wrong again, but the fact that she is perky and bubbly and loves her kids and gives them fun crafts to do, and they make masks and they dance and have a party, but she's grounded in reality. When she sees that one of her students, who's like 6 or 7, has become violent, she immediately takes realistic action. She brings in her superior, they bring in a social worker, and very delicately they talk to this child and they find out what the problem is. And it's the same thing with the instructor. I remember specifically admiring this character from when I watched this film years ago, how she was optimistic and she made jokes, and the driving instructor reacted so badly. But the second it got out of control, she's like, no, this is not acceptable. It's not okay. You don't get your car keys back. You calm down, and then we're going to end this.
Sorry. Yeah.
No. I didn't have anything else to say, so I'm glad you butted
it. What I was going to say is that just imagine the situation that you have someone that you are not interested in, absolutely, and that person is like basically the antithesis of you.
We're talking about the instructor.
Exactly. Imagine that there is that person that for whatever reason, with work or whatever, is that you have to interact with that person. And then suddenly one day you see that person stalking you, literally stalking you. And when you actually call them out, they run away. It's pretty clear that person is not okay. That person is not okay. There is no reason. Yeah, I mean, it's like if you didn't get like all the signals up to this point, it's like this is like the ultimacy that that person was like waiting for you, and it was like just observing your house. Is that that's the definition of stalking? And it's like instead of she actually saying, it's like, hey, look, I don't want to continue classes with you because this is creepy. Because that's the definition of creepy. Someone is stalking you. Is that she still had like faith that she could change this. Is that didn't sound realistic at all to me. That sounded like a bit delusional to me. Exactly the same way about like instead of trying to just create a change, you're going to be like just looking for a random homeless person and just establishing conversation. What are you looking for?
Again, I hear what you're saying, but I don't think that's a sign of delusion. It's a sign of naivete. Like, I think, and maybe I think this because I think the film is more interesting this way, she plays the straight character, and what we're watching is everybody react to somebody that they aren't themselves. That's why we see each person that we spend time with in each chapter, you see them react so dramatically different. And to me, that's what makes the film interesting. If this were about a movie about a woman who insists that she's happy and optimistic, but she's delusional and isn't happy, then it becomes like, well, why is this a valid, important film? And I do think it's an important film.
No, I don't disagree on that. It's like I think that she is honestly happy. I'm just trying to just dig a bit deeper into what makes her happy, what motivates her to be happy. And I don't think that is like 100% honest with herself. And I'm not saying that this makes the movie less. I think that it makes it more, like just thinking about like the kind of nuance to, I'm just displaying characters that most of them are unhappy. Because Helen, I agree with you, the pregnant sister, she's unhappy, 100% unhappy. When the husband is like, oh yeah, I can show you my place, it's too late. And the husband is like, okay. It's like pretty clear that you have like some kind of controlling issue and you're trying to just control everyone around you. But when Celine Dion goes boring, so when Poppy and Shaw goes on the boat at the end, it's like, so actually ask her, it's like, why didn't you call the police? We need to call the police. This is fucking wrong. And it's like, no, don't do that. It's like she cannot give up on things. She cannot. Is it because she actually thinks that she can save everyone, that she can make everything around her better?
But I don't think that she has like a messiah complex. I just think she's so optimistic, she's naive. I think we're saying the same thing. Like we agree.
Yeah, we're getting there. But from my perspective, I don't know if she's conscious or not, but it's like that scene when she goes to the bad part of town, and when she's like walking with the two purses, like gigantic purses, how she's like just looking around, it made me think about like a straight guy going to a cruising area. About like, that this is not what you're supposed to be doing. And I'm just making this parallel from the perspective that it's like, we are two gay people. Is that if I go to cruising areas, I don't go to those things. But if I were to go, it's like, no, it doesn't matter. What is like the worst thing that can happen? I can get a staff, But beyond that, it's like, it's fine. But for her, it's like she realizes I shouldn't be here. It almost feels like I'm getting a rush into something that I enjoy.
I agree with you, and that seemed quite like, yes, she really put herself in danger, and I don't understand her motivations for getting close to that man who was clearly unstable, but ultimately the guy was a nice guy, right? Like that's the point, is when you're optimistic and you believe the best in people, sometimes it works out. Like with that guy whom she shared, it's kind of a touching scene that they like are able to communicate in some way, and sometimes it doesn't work out, like the driving instructor. And again, that's why I say I think the point of the film is watching other people react to her undying optimism.
But do you see that both of them, they end up the same way, the driving instructor and this homeless person? Both of them, they try to actually, they look for actually a sexual connection with her. And she steps back, she steps away from it. And yeah, there may be like a bit more of a social commentary about like if someone tries to be nice with someone else, they're going to be understanding that they want to have sex.
But can't you see,
but at the same time, it's
like any one of the three women in the Golden Heart trilogies, like they're too good for this world. People don't deserve people like Sally Hawkins. they'll just be eaten up because their heart is gold.
But that's the thing, is like I'm not completely sure if her heart is gold or her heart is addictive to just fixing other people. And I'm saying this as someone that usually tends to go to people, tends to feel attracted to people that they feel that they could fix. That they are like, that person is broken that way, so I can fix them. And I'm going to feel better because I fixed that person, instead of actually thinking, like, what am I doing with my life?
But then how do you explain her primary core friend group? None of those people need fixed. They have degrees, they have great jobs.
Don't you think that Sally needs fixed? The sister, the other sister, the one that is like I don't know if he's older or around her age, but is still in college and basically doesn't have like anything in life.
Well, that's an interesting perception, because I saw that character as almost to her finals. She has tons of interest in the criminal justice system. She talks in detail about her exams and the ones she was concerned about, the ones she wasn't concerned about. And she has a good friend group that she goes partying with. Like, she's a happy person, not in a way that the married sister who needs to have the mortgage and the perfect lawn. I just feel
like the three sisters, each one of them, they have like their own flaws. Let's just say it like that. Is that the pregnant sister needs to control everything and needs to make people unhappy. We don't know if that's like the general thing or not about her. It's pretty clear from Poppy and Sally, whatever the name of the third sister is that Sally and Helen doesn't get along too well, and Poppy and Sally, they get like really well. And Poppy and Helen is like, well, sure, it's my sister, I need to just keep talking with her. But how Sally is portrayed, like we actually see her like just being harassed by a random guy on the street that is supposed to be someone, like boyfriend or something like that. I don't know, you remember? Or
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, but it's like just 1 second, is that we know that he's, I don't know, not really carefree, but he's like displaying a way that is like, are you acting exactly like the way that you're expected to be acting around your age? I don't know. I think that is like 28 or something, because she's like slightly younger than Poppy, but not that much.
See, I got the impression she was much younger.
Well, I may be wrong.
No, I don't think they ever talk about her age. What I think is interesting about this film is the perceptions. Like, you and I watched the same film, and we have very different ideas about the characters' true nature, their motivations, and
the message.
Those are the best types of films, I think. Like, this, we're having an interesting discussion about these characters' lives.
Yeah, I mean, I felt funny at the same time. Like, come on, you cannot be more on the nose about when they go partying at the beginning, the group of friends. And it's funny because we don't see some of those friends anymore across the movie.
Yeah.
A couple of them.
There's a large group, and then it kind of like it goes down to the core friend group, which is the sister and the roommate. Exactly.
And they go to a club, and they are dancing to this, I think that is 98 Common People by Pulp. Common People.
I was too young to remember music from the 80s.
Yeah, sorry man, 95 actually. That basically the lyrics goes about like what is like just being part of the working class, and what about like just having to just survive with whatever you have. It's like if you look at the lyrics, I love that song. Pulp is one of my favorite. It's my favorite Britpop band ever. Let's just leave it there. From that time, let's just leave it there. And
so many qualifiers.
Well, I don't want to have more qualifiers, but there are other bands I like. Pet Shop Boys more. I like Muse too. I mean, there are like many bands that I like from UK, but it's like from the Britpop movement of the 90s. This is my favorite. Atop, above Blur, Oasis, and others. And
you
this
Radiohead Britpop?
No. Radiohead is Radiohead. That's the tag for Radiohead. Category. Yeah. Radiohead is my favorite Radiohead band. But with this song, basically, it describes the story of a rich girl that is fascinated about like the common people's life in London. So she wants to pretend that she's poor, and she actually just hook up with someone in a supermarket about like, just teach me how to be common people. And the refrain of the song, what it repeats, is like, okay, it's cool that you're doing this, but the day that you are like just in bed, looking at the wall with no job, with no money, and you see like cockroaches climbing the wall, you can call your dad and he can change it all. Because you have the money, you have that safety net, is that you're just pretending to be one of us when you are not. And I leave it there. Same. Just saying. There may be another character that is pretending to be happy when he's not.
Regardless of what we think happened, I will reiterate that a film that can inspire two people that watch a lot of movies and talk a lot about movies to have a discussion, an interesting discussion. I think you can hear my points of view and I can hear yours, and they're all completely valid. I think this is the best type of film.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I really like this movie. Don't get me wrong, because I think that the disagreement is not about like if it's good or it's bad. Absolutely. It's a bit more about like what do we get out of it, What do we get about like what it was happening there, about like how do we read those characters? We agree on what happened on the screen, I think.
And also, let's talk about the best performance of the film was the Spanish flamenco instructor, because that was incredible. That scene was like, yes, Mike Leigh, yes.
I'm sorry. I mean, probably for this I'm not going to be like fully objective, because if I say, okay, I almost feel like you are ridiculizing us.
Really? Did you feel that way?
A bit, but in any case, it's like, I'm not gypsy, and it's like everything that she's talking about is that we are gypsy, and it's about vengeance and blood and coming back to them.
I don't think that's about her being Spanish. I think that's her being a passionate flamenco dancer, which I understand. Like, if you have a Mexican and they happen to be in a mariachi band, it's like, come on, like, let's have a little bit of a more well-rounded character. So I get it, but I thought her performance was particularly moving. And as I've said about 9 times, what I find interesting is the contrast between Poppy and whatever character is in the room. And because she wasn't allowed to engage with that character, and you could clearly see that it frustrated her, that I liked that scene.
Yeah, but she tries to remain like just smiling, and just engaging with her eyes with everyone around. I found like that, like even more defining about her character, about like she doesn't know to be anything else. It's like she's really over the top. But for me, once again, I think that it's like fake over the top. Not about like pretending, but a bit more is that I'm being over the top for something. I have an ulterior motive about like what I'm trying to achieve with my behavior. Overall, I was mind blown. I really enjoyed it. It was like an extremely enjoyable movie. And I think it actually just made me think that there are not so many comedies, because this is a drama comedy, but it's 80% on the comedy side, I would say. You have to dig, or like that scene when the driving instructor just attacks her, that's clearly 100% drama. But everything else is, you can just take like half and half.
So I'm going to ask you a question that I've been dying to ask you, because I love A Christmas Tale, which is a French movie that is a little bit darker than I first realized, right? And I made my mom watch it. And to be honest, that's still a movie that's about a family that's dysfunctional, but they love each other and they're all trying to be happy and help each other be happy. But in my mom's defense, when I rewatched it last year, I was like, okay, this is darker than I thought. That's fair.
Yeah.
So I asked my mom to watch Happy Go Lucky, and this is like 10 years ago when it came out like 12 or 13 years ago. I discovered the film. I loved it. I asked my mom to watch it. And she came back just like A Christmas Tale and said, this is a super dark movie. Like, there's lots of unhappy people. And so I was watching it specifically to be like, was my mom right? Like A Christmas Tale? And I don't think so. And again, I think this is how you read things. To me, this is about a happy person who interacts with people with varying levels of happiness. I don't see it as a dark movie, so I'm very curious to hear what you thought. Like, would you say that this is a happy movie? And I know that's reductive. It's not like okay to be like, this is a sad movie, this is a happy movie, but overall, I think this is a happy movie about happy people.
I think that this is a comedy. That's it. I think that this is a comedy. It's Dane. Well, what I'm going to say is like I was watching with someone, with this friend, and it's like I talking at the end. It's like this is a comedy about unhappy people, but unhappy people that they're pretending to be happy. And it's like if they're like legitimately happy or not is something like left to the audience. But you know, like those moments when Sally Hawkins that just goes like just serious and just start like just getting lost in thought, is like it's almost like a reflection about like internally. She's broken. I think that internally she's broken. I don't think that she's like truly happy.
Well, that answers my question. So
now, when you compare it to A Christmas Tale, this is holy shit. This is like the lightest comedy that you can just throw my way. You know, is that this is basically like a Disney movie compared with A Christmas Tale. In A Christmas Tale, is that basically everyone's being an asshole to the rest of the family.
But they love each other.
No, you want to take away that they love each other, but they love each other in a very sick way.
Okay, well, clearly I'm outvoted here, so I really genuinely was curious to hear your response to that question. So,
yeah. So did you watch it with your husband? This Happy Go Lucky?
No, I've recommended this film to him many times, but we didn't watch it together.
I would love to hear his opinion about this character.
He is a psychologist. I'll ask him.
Yeah. I mean, because from my perspective is that this is a broken character. I know that you want to just take like the happy-go-lucky part. Yeah.
No, I'm shaking my head because I'm always intrigued when you and I can have such vastly different readings. Because typically we agree, I think, and we had a recent movie where we disagreed in a very similar way, but I don't remember what it was.
I think there was Ice White Sat.
Which one?
Ice White Sat. I think we were disagreeing about something about Tom Cruise.
And I said it doesn't even matter because that's the point of the film is to like
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, honestly, it's like I was pretty surprised, you know, that is at first like a movie that it can actually just make me laugh. There are not so many, and especially it made me laugh and not feel stupid after laughing, you know, that in the point that is like the laugh is coming out of my throat. It's like, why are you laughing, Jose? Stop, this is dumb. It's like, you are better than this. You shouldn't smile like this. And also at the same time.
So he is the sole credited writer, so a director that can finally direct what he writes.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's good. I was going to be asking you something it was driving me crazy. Did you find the social worker guy, the one that becomes her boyfriend, did you find him hot?
I did not find him attractive, but there was something about him, like there was a sweetness to him that I found attractive, but like sexually, no, I didn't want to have sex with him.
Yeah, so for me, it's always, I'm going to say this, I'm pretty sorry if you're going to be losing one of our 6 listeners because they are from UK, but it's like he was the definition on someone from the UK. You know, that is like, you have pieces of someone that would be handsome, you know, but they just combine it in something else that is like, this doesn't make sense. It's like, this is like a Frankenstein, like a Hansenstein.
In further risk of alienating our UK listeners, he didn't have bad teeth, so he didn't feel very.
That's true. But it was pretty clear that they actually put like fake teeth on the driving teacher, making it look like even more disgusting. Yeah, they had like some brown, like just it was like just. It was British teeth. That was authentic British teeth. But that's the reason why I always see this guy is that you're trying to make this contrast, that this a tall, handsome guy, you know, with perfect teeth, you know, that really understands her and really listens to her. But at the same time, is this the best that you can do in the UK? You know, is this like what you find an attractive guy? Because I don't see it. I'm sorry, man. It's okay.
No, yeah, I didn't find him attractive, but there was a nice sweetness about him.
He was extremely sweet. He was like just basically the male version of Sally Hawkins' character, so they had like perfect chemistry. They looked like
Yep,
just made for each other, but at the same time, is that they were like so made to each other and so perfect for each other that I felt that it was a bit more like a caricature, more than
yep,
actually a real character. You know,
agree.
not that is a problem or a big problem at least, because it's like that character is a bit more for just making the contrast with the driving teacher. Because for half of the movie, I thought that is like she's going to be ending up with the driving teacher. And even I think that even on that scene when she has just been attacked and the guy is like confessing his feelings, I think that she's struggling to what should I do? Should I actually tell my boyfriend that he's perfect and sweet, but he will find someone else and be happy for just taking care of this guy?
Well, I think it's settled. We have to have my husband watch this film and make a call.
Yep. Should we go over the questions?
Mm-hmm.
So, could you watch it again?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you asked if my husband had seen it, I thought I would watch this tomorrow.
Like right away. Yep, back to
Yeah,
back.
I really like this movie.
Yeah, I would definitely watch it again. I mean, probably I would give it like a bit more of a break, but definitely I would like to watch it before I forget like some details about like just trying to dig a bit deeper about like what do I feel that how the character is. Because I think that it's not one of those cases that the script is not complex enough for giving us more. I think that it gives us a lot, and it's about more like just paying attention and reading like the small gestures and the small signs. So,
Yep, agree.
pretty good. Would you recommend it?
Yes, no problem. I think this is a great film. I think the direction is strong. I think the script is strong. I think it's interesting. It's very different than, I can't name a film like this. So yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend this. And this, like, if we usually talk about like if we recommend it to our parents, I would recommend this to my parents.
No, well, I did recommend it to my mom. I wouldn't to my dad.
Why? Because he doesn't stand happy people.
He hasn't seen a movie since Lord of the Rings, so he wouldn't be into it.
Okay, that's interesting. Did he like it at least, or did he dislike it so much that he's like, I'm never watching a movie again?
No. He watched a movie because it was a Tolkien film. Otherwise, he doesn't have an interest in films or television.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. That's pretty different from what you expect. Do you think did you actually remember mostly everything about this movie?
Overall, I mean, I remember the kid having issues, the social worker, the boyfriend. I remembered a lot. There were some nice surprises. I had forgotten about her little friend group and the sister that they partied with, but overall, yes, I remembered it.
Yeah, I think that we'll remember like the overall arching story, albeit as I would say, it's like it still feels like a slice of life. It still feels like just opening a window, and just peeking into someone else's private life more than anything else. Yeah. Is there anything artistic about it?
I think that regardless of whether you liked what happened, Mike Leigh's direction is so strong that you almost don't even notice like how talented he is as a director, because everything flows so nicely. And yeah, I think I hate using superlatives, but I think he's one of the best directors working today. But because his style is so subtle, he doesn't get a lot of attention paid to him.
I actually thought about, and just forgive me for saying this because you're going to hate me, I thought about Not Some Scandal while watching this movie for a moment.
How so? Before I get upset.
Well, I mean, I was thinking there's a scenes that they also happen in a high school. It's also released, But then I was thinking that Not Some Scandal was trying to be like pretty heavy-handed from the directing perspective from time to time about like, hey, look at me, I can do something artistic. And I think that this movie, I agree with you, is like it's extremely subtle, but at the same time so solid all around.
That's a perfect way to describe his direction. It's so solid. It's so solid.
Yeah, is that there is no fat to it. It's like everything is every single scene that is just displays. What I was telling you, like Sally Hawkins, like suddenly just looking through the glass and just starting to get serious. Is like that's amazing. It has like so much weight to it that is like you didn't waste a single scene. It's like everything is for just propelling the characters in different directions, and I feel like that's incredible. And that he actually wrote this script is like. It's amazing seeing a director, because you could actually say, you remember the Two Faces of January?
Yes.
That's the what?
I wouldn't have remembered that name. I was just saying, well done.
Yeah. So that one, I think that we talk about, like, there is nothing wrong with the directing, but there is nothing special. There is nothing artistic per se, nothing that we're going to be remembering about this movie. And it could be easy for Happy-Go-Lucky go into the same direction. About like it's so subtle the directing that you don't realize about it, but there is something, and that's the reason why I wanted to watch more movies about this director. That is that there is something that I cannot put my finger on, and it's not as over the top as with Fassbinder. That is, I cannot put the finger, but like, it's so over the top that I have a feeling about like where this is, But with this guy, it's like doing a slice of life that feels compelling and feels like fast-paced when it's not, that is just engaging. It requires some talent, and how he actually was smart about like just the framing of many scenes, about like how putting like juxtapositions between characters that they are like clearly different. Well, everyone is different to Sally, but the scene when they're like talking with the homeless, and there is like a perfect frame below the bridge that they are talking. There are like many beautiful scenes, beautifully shot, but it's a strong directing, but it's not obviously directed.
I agree, and we haven't even brought up the length yet, which it's 2 hours long, and it doesn't feel like it at all. It's like, it feels like it's 30 minutes. It could be like a TV show. And you can't do that without being incredibly talented with pacing, with story, with like visual aspects, like you mentioned. And there are some of the best scenes, in my opinion, were just close-ups of faces. Yeah. And the trust that he put in his actors, and he chose all great actors. It's just everything is exceptional without being like you said, over the top. And I'm very, very, very curious, one, to watch more of Mike Leigh's films with you. Yeah. And for you to get a better understanding. I don't think we mentioned this. I've seen 5 or 6 of his other films. This was a first for you and Mike Leigh, right?
Yeah, it was. I was checking. It's like none of them. Some of them they actually Secret and Lies. Was it?
Won the Palme d'Or.
Yeah, I think that one I heard the title before, but I never watched it. It was a bit more of when you mentioned about like how popular he was and how much you like it. Is I'm surprised that I never heard about it, but I think that that's the problem, as he's not over the top. I don't know the rest of the stories, but it sounds like a bit more of grounded in reality kind of director.
The rest, from what I've seen, are more straightforward dramas. I mean, they're not crazy dramatic, but it's more straightforward, like you did.
But even with Happy-Go-Lucky, it feels like it's still grounded in reality, more or less. I mean, there is a bit more of a dreamy feeling to it, from time to time, but it's grounded in reality, without like getting into Wes Anderson territory. But let's just say,
just to be clear to anyone listening, it's nothing like a Wes Anderson film.
No, it's not. It's true that there is like just adults dressing up as bears with a paper bag. But that's as crazy as it gets, as Wes Anderson as it gets.
But they're also preparing a lesson for children. It's not like, let's...
But you don't know that. You don't know that at that point. You don't know that there are teachers, and you're like, what the fuck are they doing? Are they insane? But from that perspective, I think that this may not be as mainstream director, because there is nothing, if I go to the extremes, that it makes him surface on top of others, for the mainstream.
Yes, I completely agree. This is not something that will blow the average moviegoer away. There's nothing there that's like that. This is more for people with elevated tastes.
Okay. I know. Do you think that this is a timeless piece?
Yeah, 100%. He's very good at avoiding any. There is a conversation about the internet being new, but I mean, none of the themes explored have anything to do with what's timely. And yeah, no, I mean, I will watch this film in 20 years and feel probably the same about it that I did today.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. I think that it's a bit more about the psyche of the characters more than actually anything about the reality. It's true that I think that there is a bit of foreshadowing or a bit more of a just think about the reality of the country where they're living in. With when they play Common People, I think that is the only licensed song that they play.
And while I didn't know all of that you told me about that song, the accents are pretty aggressively low class.
Oh yeah.
So not that they behaved in any inappropriate way, but they have that like South London Cockney, almost Cockney, not all the way Cockney, but it's like, okay, you're putting them in a very specific social stratosphere, like we get it.
Yeah, but I don't think that it's about that stratosphere that I think that in 10 years no one is going to be remembered about it. I think there is a bit more about like the kind of character that it is.
Agreed.
So would you turn this into a TV show?
I don't think so. I think this is, to me, this exemplifies what I love about movies. And I love it as a movie. I don't want to see it in another form. I want to see it as Mike Leigh wrote it and wanted me to see it.
I agree. A part of me is curious about like what he could do with a TV series, like this. But at the same time, I don't think that this story, from my read, about like, okay, she's broken and unhappy, is like, I don't think that you can stress this too much. It's like maybe you can do like 5 episodes of 30 minutes, and then at the end, the total running time is 2 hours and a half. So it's almost like a movie. But beyond that,
it could be a mini series, but it wouldn't appeal to mainstream. It wouldn't quite make sense. You would be like, they should have just made a 2-hour movie.
Yeah. Should we score this?
Yes.
So yeah, I score first. So my score is an 8.5.
Well, that's my score.
Do you want us to the next time? Because I feel a bit more like you are just copying my score sometimes.
I don't have my, well, I didn't read the New York Times, so I didn't know how I felt. So I just waited. Oh, yeah, no, that's a great score. That's mine. No,
yeah.
This movie had some problems, like especially talking to you, it made me kind of aware of some like gaps in the story or in the filmmaking, but this is better than a good film, and I think it will last. Like we said, this is timeless. It's going to appeal to audiences in the same way it did in 2008 as 2028. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there is a bit of I could have watched this movie. Well, maybe 10 years ago, I would have felt exactly in the same kind of way. But I know that if I watch it like 10 years in the future, I will feel like still engaged by it, still, like excited about like just reading, so like just digging more into Sally Hawkins' character. And I think that that's a good sign, when you can actually just already think about like, okay, this is not going to be like if I had to pick 10 movies, probably this is not going to be on the number 10. But I think that this is like the kind of movie that it will be on the number 11 or 12.
Yep, I agree. It's, yes.
Yeah, Roger? It's the kind of movie that is, okay, it's not stellar. It's not like, wow, it's going to be like remembering forever, it redefines cinema as a whole. But it's good. It's like, it's amazingly good. It's like just almost there. I don't know if there could have been any changes to this to make it better, or it's a bit more of the limitation of the kind of story that you wanted to tell.
It's an interesting question, but I don't really.
I'm adding it to the list, actually.
So much. Which one?
Yeah, no, that's fair. I'm adding like this question: do you think that there would have been any way of making this better?
Ooh, I just prefer critiquing films, not like contributing to art. I'm not that person. I can just get it down. That's all I can do.
No, but we usually try to just pick like some of the movies apart and try to find like the gaps and the kind of flaws that they have. It's like one of the sentences that I think that you say the most is like, this is flawed. So it's like when we actually say that this is flawed, we are assuming that there was a way of making this in a flawed kind of way. Maybe.
Okay, all right, that's fair. Well, let's experiment with this new question.
All right. Something interesting that I was checking right now while we were talking, I was checking what movies are on the Criterion Collection for Mike Leigh. And I know that I'm indexing way too much about the Criterion Collection because it's like pretty random, given that Armageddon is there, for example. But actually, there are like 5 Mike Leigh movies, and Happy Go Lucky is not one of them.
We can talk about the Criterion Collection at another time. I suspect that they bought a bunch of Mike Leigh films at one point in time, and it was before 2008. But I found Naked, which I believe was the first film of his that I watched because it was in the Criterion Collection. So I think a bunch of them got in probably after he won the Palme d'Or, and they brought in a bunch of his movies, but that's just a guess.
Yeah, they're releasing Secrets and Lies in a couple of months. Or no, next month.
On Criterion.
On the Criterion. Yeah, they have Topsy Turvy, Meantime, Life is Sweet, Naked, and next month Secrets and Lies.
And I've seen all
They're not
of those
surprised,
movies,
Do you think that those movies are better than Happy Go Lucky?
Topsy Turvy is not. Secrets and Lies is. Did you mention Vera Drake? Hold on, let me pull up the IMDb page.
No,
Vera Drake,
it's
I think.
Meantime. Oh, okay. It's Meantime, Life is Sweet, Naked, Secret and Lies, and Topsy Turvy.
Wow, Meantime is a TV movie, and that's in the Criterion Collection? So Meantime is the one I haven't seen. I would say that all of his films are very close to the same in terms of quality. There's some that I like more than others, but they're all solid. All of them are solid.
Wow. Huh. Okay. Tim Roth is on Meantime. Okay. Yeah, I'm honestly that this is one of those movies that there are like sometimes that we watch a movie by a director that I have never watched anything about, or you haven't watched anything about, and we end up saying about like it would be great to watch more. It would be great to just keep it digging, and just moving away from just watching everything but David Lynch at some point.
And Lars von
Trier, and Haneke, and just discovering other directors or just getting obsessed about other directors. And I think that this has been like one of those cases that is I respect that he's solid, I respect that he's good as a director, but it's like I still don't get like the full picture about like who is he, where are the signs, Could you actually just watch a random movie, imagine that they find like a new Mike Leigh movie? Do you think that you could actually identify signs that you would say like, this is a Mike Leigh movie?
With Mike Leigh specifically, no, and I feel bad about that, but because everything is so subtle, it's such a well-oiled machine, you don't pay attention to his direction. So no, I could say, oh, he likes to focus up on his characters' faces, but that feels a little bit superficial. There's something to it, and I don't know what it is even after watching many of his movies.
Yeah, definitely. So for the next one, that is my pick, I wanted to just, as I enjoy this, it made me just, I don't know, like bring back a faith that they can be good comedies, that they can be smart at the same time. And there is this comedy that I watched a couple of times, and I always feel is that this was smart, but every single time after 6 months later, it's like, was it? I doubt myself. And I think that you also like it, and we were talking about Michael Fassbender, not Fassbinder, Fassbender. And he's the main character on this. So I would like us to watch Frank again.
So this movie came out when we were brand new best friends. Brand new.
Yeah, like 7 years ago, actually.
This was one of the first movies we talked about. We both saw it at Embarcadero, I think, right?
Did we go to watch it together?
we didn't watch it together. I went and saw it with my husband, but I think you saw it and we talked about it at a bar. So
yeah. So it's one of those movies that I was like, I think that it's twice or three times, and I'm like really curious to see, especially like back to back with another comedy that I felt is like this was smart, but I also think that it was not a comedy. 100% a comedy.
It's like a sad comedy. Like you'll laugh up until the tragedy is what I remember. And also I remember listening to the soundtrack, which is all original music. A lot. Yep.
Yeah. I love the soundtrack. Now we will talk about this next week. It makes a parody of indie music, but at the same time it's enjoyable as indie music.
It's good indie music.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it for next time. Anything else to say about Happy Go Lucky?
Nope. Just
Okay.
wash your hands.
Bye.